Tonight on Business Live, bulk oil distributors assure reducing fuel prices if the city stabilizes as it rejects accusations of shortchanging customers and profiting from current economic challenges.
The product supply will be there, but availability is one issue. Affordability is something that we can guarantee.
We should be assured that in terms of shortage, there wouldn't be till end of year to first quarter.
In as much as you are paying the right price.
Also, private emails for government businesses will not be tolerated from next year as government moves to protect the public sector from cyber attacks.
By the end of this year, all organizations working in the public and civil service should be on the Smart Workplace platform to use the secure email services that are on there, for starters.
Ahead, we'll be engaging the institution expected to lead this charge, the National Information Technology Agency, NITA. Plus, ahead of the 2023 budget presentation, the Association of Ghana Industries is calling for reversal of benchmark values.
If we could get some rejuvenation with some tax exemptions, some interventions that are zero rated on raw materials, and these reversals on the VAT and on the policy rates.
I'm Maame Esi Thompson. We'll be right back with details. Welcome back now to our first story. Fuel prices will be reduced at the pumps when the cedi starts stabilizing firmly against the dollar. That's the assurance coming from the Chief Executive of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors, Dr. Patrick Ofori. It follows concerns that consumers will never witness price reduction even when the local currency stabilizes. But speaking on PM Express Business Edition, Dr. Ofori insisted the current spike in prices is mainly due to the cedi's performance. He also ruled out any fuel shortage in the country in the coming weeks.
Needed to have that discussion to ensure that these are extended and then the credit lines exposure is even quoted in USD so that our members can still bring in products worth $10 million. That will also revamp the supply side of it and to able to lock in products to the normal cycles that they bring the products in. So that was something that was also going to affect us. But clearly, once the directive came and most of our members are comfortable with that, I think the banks are also comfortable now to ensure that they can still keep that going. The other aspect that was definitely going to affect the supply line was the issue of the forest availability, because some of the key IOTCs were a bit skeptical, especially when the rating agencies downgraded Ghana. Some of them started to review their outlook on Ghana. Their compliance and risk teams started flagging out and saying, no, you know something, you can't continue exposing us to a country that has been downgraded. So that was also an issue. So we needed to also engage them to assure them that we have what it takes to make those payments. Some were very accommodating to the extent that they would also want to check from your banks if you have that cedi equivalent sitting in your account to be able to fulfill those payments. And gradually, I think that pressure has been able to ease. And then once they also got that assurance from BOG that at least a quantum of dollars has been allocated to the sector, made them comfortable knowing that irrespective of what, the normal payment cycles, at least there are 2 or 3 million here or there, is guaranteed, that through the Bank of Ghana auctioning. And we're hoping that the governor, after the other deliberations, may be stepping up to also ensure that we get more access to forest to be able to meet that. And they were also comfortable, of course, because they know the Cocoa Board syndicated loan was also coming in. So the issue about having access to forest to also meet those commitments was gradually calming down. And now we are in a smooth driving seat where the product supply will be there. But availability is one issue. Affordability is something that we can guarantee.
So we should be assured that in terms of shortage, there wouldn't be till end of year to first quarter.
In as much as you are paying the right price.
The Office of the Registrar of Companies has hinted it will put in place various measures to flush out Goro boys. According to the Registrar of Companies, Jemima Owari, the activities of Goro boys has taken a toll on their operations. She was speaking to Joy Business at the 5th American Chamber of Commerce and the Ghana Association of Restructuring and Insolvency Advisors Business meeting.
The VIP Oral C service is to create a conducive environment for business owners to have access to their documents within 24 hours. According to the Registrar of Companies, the ORC service is expected to be ready within the first quarter of 2023.
Well, I think it's far better than it was initially when we started, because we started issuing penalties for companies that do not file their annual returns and financial statements on time. So clearly now we are rather even being inundated by our clients to file their returns. Sometimes it's the system that rather prevents them from filing. So I think it's far better, because I think we've done a bit of sensitization around that. So people actually want to comply now. Clients would pay anything just to get something done within a day. That is why we're going to come up with a VVIP service, where in our own premises we will have a whole setup there for businesses to get their documents within a day, as long as they pay a little bit more than they are currently paying. And that we should try and implement by the early part of next year, so that we'll cut out people having to go to pay extra monies, for a service that most probably might not even be inaccurate.
President of the American Chamber of Commerce Ghana, Aisha Bedue Ibe, stated that U.S. businesses will further deepen trade with their Ghanaian counterparts.
People, businesses especially, need to have clarity and know how to move forward in this area. It all adds up to the ease of doing business. So American Chamber of Commerce and GARIA have always had a partnership for the last 2 or 3 years, and it helps that we bring our different members together. We represent different parts of the business society, and as we come together, we're stronger. We're able to push policy together, have those discussions that reflect what is going on in our businesses, and also try and influence the change that is possible. All members have been hit by this crisis, because we're all business owners. So all the more reason why we should be in situations like this and meetings like this, where we have policymakers, when we come together as a big group, that we can actually have a bigger voice together and speak to the powers that be to be able to make the change that we want to see.
Citizens are being urged to use the right channel to register their businesses.
Government is rolling out several measures to help protect the public sector from cyber attacks. Public sector workers have been directed that from January next year, no private emails will be entertained for official use. But how are all these measures going to be implemented? Let's get more details on this from the institution implementing this initiative. And I have with me in the studio Richard Otrefosu, Director General of the National Information Technology Agency. He joins me now and tells us more about this initiative from the Technology Breakfast for Public Sector Workers meeting organized in Accra. And so, Richard, thank you for coming. What really informed this decision?
Okay, Maame Esi, so we have a platform, Smart Workplace, which government deployed during the lockdown, which allows public sector workers to be able to work from home, any place, anywhere. And not only does it give you emails, it also provides you with Microsoft Office Suite, Teams, video conferencing, other productivity tools. So now government has an alternative to the Yahoo, the Gmail, and the private emails that we use. Incidentally, put this in mind, if someone leaves the public sector and all they've been doing is using their private email, they've literally taken away information, institutional memory away. So we are saying that hitherto, before we couldn't provide that service. Now government has deployed a service, and we are saying that this is the way to go. And it's free to get it, right? Government is pre-financing it. It comes with a .gov.gh email. So any public sector worker should have a government email address per their institution.
Well, I understand this, and primarily because of security situation. That's why you are implementing or deploying this kind of infrastructure. But what's the state of the public infrastructure, seeing that it's really not been the first time such an initiative has come up?
Okay. So, as I said in my earlier point, people ask this question, we've seen this, we've heard this announcement before, but now government has an alternative.
Right.
That is why we are saying that by the end of the year, and we've onboarded over 500 MDAs and MMDAs, government institutions. So it's not, we are not starting it now. We rolled it out during the lockdown because during the COVID lockdown, government did not shut down.
Right.
We operated. And this was one of the tools that allowed us to do so. So you can do video conference call, you can do your work any place, anytime, anywhere. And that, for me, I think, is what is informing this decision, that let's use government emails. And I also explained, with this solution, we can also protect government information being downloaded onto private computers and all that, because you can set those parameters. And institutional memory. If someone retires, they've gone away with that institutional memory.
Right.
So that's the reason. But in terms of the public sector digitalization effort, we're doing a lot there. The basis of all this is connectivity. Government has spent a lot of money in connecting agencies. We are just about to, through the World Bank, also connect all the 16 regions.
And is that the specific role NITA is playing to get this thing established?
Yes, NITA is the ICT regulator. So we are responsible for the ICT sector, the ecosystem. But hitherto, until last year when our minister said, focus on your mandate. I mean, we have an act that brought us into being, Act 771 and Act 772, Electronic Transaction Act. So hitherto, we were focused on operations. But now we are focusing also on our mandate, which established us. Some of the things we are doing is connectivity, the National Data Center, and in fact, I would like to invite you guys to come and tour the place.
Wow.
We have a Tier 3 National Data Center that government has paid for. And the unfortunate situation here is that it is private sector that is taking advantage of it. And cabinet has just declared that all government institutions should take connectivity and internet from NITA as the government ISP, and also ensure that if they have a data center, their DR also comes to the National Data Center. We cannot play games with this.
Right. So, I mean, hearing you now, you believe strongly that this is really the only way to prevent leakages and hacking of the system, of government system?
Not necessarily. It is one of the ways to protect government information and government business being done in a confined environment. When you have a government email address, when you leave and somebody comes and take over, the administrator can pull all that email that you used to have in your mailbox for the person who has taken over. So in that sense, business continuity is enabled, and the person doesn't take institutional memory away. So that's also one of the things. But protecting government information or infrastructure is multifaceted, right? So we must protect the networks that we work with. We should have the right policies. We must have the right patches to our systems. I'm just finding out that some of our databases, right, have run out of support. And that means that when you don't pay for support, you don't have the necessary patches.
How did it get to this point? Because, I mean, government infrastructure have struggled over the years. What do you think has been the real cause of this for us to get to this point?
Every institution, every government institution is responsible for their own budget and for these things. And often at times, sometimes technology is overlooked. The needed resources are not pumped into technology. And that's the reason why we think that a consolidated effort, the smart workplace is one of such innovation. It's consolidated. Government is saying that, look, hitherto, you buying your own Microsoft license or not buying the Microsoft license, because we found out that a lot of government institutions were also pirating the licenses. Government is now taking the initiative to say that, look, we are getting the licenses and you come and take advantage of it. It also helps us rationalize, okay? Because we take out the wastages that also exist. People buy things that they don't necessarily need, okay? So that is important. So government is doing a lot in this area. And I think we should commend them for what they're doing.
Well, another interesting bit of this conversation, I mean, recently government or the president was talking about leaks or, I mean, information making the rounds on social media about the depreciation of the cedi. What role is your institution doing to, you know, block, I mean, investigate some of these happenings ongoing in the public sector?
Very good. So that's an interesting question. Within the government space, we have different regulators. Cybersecurity clearly sits with the Cybersecurity Authority, but we coordinate because, in fact, best practice now is to say that all regulators must coordinate. So we are in an era of collaborative regulations.
Right.
So NITA, being the regulator for the ICT sector, works with cybersecurity agency. Today I got one of such messages. That was just saying that people should go and withdraw their money, So I referred it to, I touched base with my colleague at cybersecurity, and we've referred it to our law enforcement liaison unit to deal with that. None of these things are done in silos. We've got to collaborate, and we do that very well. Within the Ministry of Communications and Digitalization, you have the data protection, you have NCA for communications, regulating the telcos. You have NITA being the regulator of the ecosystem. And you have Cybersecurity Authority as well. And we work closely to ensure that we bring sanity to
If I may ask, when did this start? When do you intend to finish? What has been the state of investigations so far? I mean, typically what happens with these kind of things is that if it's on a particular social media platform, you know that privacy thing is also a big deal. So we have to write it. So it's, again, we go to them and say, look, we need you to take this thing down because it's affecting, you know, our country or what we are trying to achieve. And we work with them to do that. So it's not a click of a button type thing, but we work with all the social media sites to be able to do these things, and we've been doing that quietly. What is this whole government smart workplace program that we're hearing about? Is that not too late for this to happen now?
It's never too late. It's never too late. As I explained, smart workplace, I'm proud to say, is a product by a Ghanaian, a Ghanaian firm. And I think we should, just as the president is talking about, let's consume Ghanaian products and services. This is one of such. A Ghanaian firm developed this product using Microsoft technologies.
Oh, okay.
So it's based on the Office 365 technologies. And as I said, Cabinet was actually piloting the product when COVID hit. So a decision was made that all government sector institutions should use it. And that's where we deployed it. You see, technology also grows, right? There are advancements in technology. And as and when the advancement or the new innovations come, we also try and bring it to, I mean, I can sit here and work from home. When memos that comes to my office, the minute the registry gets it, it's uploaded onto the smart workplace. And anywhere I am, I'm able to send the memo to whoever I want them to work on the memo. And I can track it, I can escalate it if I want to. So smart workplace is not just about email. Email is one component.
Okay.
Okay, there are many things. So we can also come into your institution. So we have leave requests, car requests, you know, some places reimbursements. So we come into an institution and we can automate your processes within the institution. Take it from the manual process to an automated.
And before
process.
we go,
Sure.
briefly, how much is all this costing government?
A lot of money.
How much?
Government is taking, the licenses alone is not cheap. I'm not going to put it out here, but those who buy, companies who buy Microsoft licenses, if it's even an enterprise license agreement that you have, they know it's expensive. Government is absorbing that. I can tell you, government has spent well in excess of over 500 million USD on technology initiatives. We can talk of Ghana.gov, which has sanitized government services and payment. If you want to discover government services, you go to Ghana.gov, you discover the service, you consume it, and you pay for it. We've got Momo interoperability that has done very well. They recently just got an award. The single window. There are many things. Connectivity, government cloud, okay, national data center. You guys should come in and put your information out there.
We sure will. Thank you so much, Mr. Richard Autry, Director General of ANITA. And that's it. You're still watching Business Live. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to Business Live. As government engages stakeholders ahead of the 2023 budget presentation, the Association of Ghana Industries says it has made some proposals to government on the reversal of the benchmark value and implementation of the zero-rated import duties on industrial raw materials. Speaking to Joy Business after the association held a meeting with the Finance Minister, President of the AGI, Humphrey Eyim Dake, said he was hopeful the economy will recover from the global shock if the proposals are considered.
What we call the international valuation verification, others call it the benchmark discount value issue. We believe a full reversal, as promised earlier on. We reiterated to government and to the minister that we look forward to that promise. Issues on the VAT we've tabled. Issues regarding zero-rated import duty on industrial raw materials is relevant to help us rejuvenate the private sector. It is evident by the virtue of the IMF and the report of the minister that the IMF intervention will bring some austerity because of the state of the debt of the country, and moving that debt position to about 55 calls for a lot of austerity, calls for a lot of contraction. Growth will be minimal. From that perspective of government, we believe in private sector. If we could get some rejuvenation with some tax exemptions, some interventions that zero-rated on raw materials, and these reversals on the VAT and on the policy rates, we could help government rejuvenate and create jobs in the private sector whilst we navigate the debt sustainability issues and the challenges of inflation and the challenges of the macroeconomic difficulties. We could together do that and help government by virtue of that score to rake in revenues through the EVAT and other e-transactions that we can use to assist government rake in revenue for debt sustainability.
And that's it for Business Live. There's more news on myjoyonline.com/business. We'll leave you.